Now, it can be one of theirs if you want, but it doesn't have to be one of theirs. A court of record. Do you know I have my own court?
JP?
No. I'm a sovereign being. Do you know what a sovereign being is? S-U-V, E-R-A-N. Sovereign. No, I'm not a sovereign being. Why would I be a sovereign being when I could be a sovereign being? A sovereign being is like a king or a queen. They can be appointed by their subjects, or they can be heritage, whatever. But a sovereign being, I'm king in my own right. This is my kingdom. I'm only answerable because of my soul and because of my affidavit. I'm only answerable to my Creator. I'm not answerable to anyone else unless I contract. Therefore, I can set up my own court. And I did. I did it for fun, and then I went, oh, wait a minute. This gives me amazing power. Wow. I've got my own court. I've got a proprietary limited company, but you don't need one. But I registered a business name under my proprietary limited company. The local court is a business name registered under the Department of Justice. I have the same legal standing in their system. Because no one tells my court how it operates. But my court is a court of the living man, living woman. So it's higher than a court of the dead. So my court makes rulings and judgments, which I then put into their proceedings. And I say, a court of higher jurisdiction has already heard and determined this matter. And according to your rules, you must follow the rulings of other courts. That's what their rules tell them. They have to follow the rulings of other courts. So the proper procedure is the magistrate should say to the prosecutor, I can't deal with this. If you want to appeal this, you have to take it back to the court in which it was issued and have it repealed there. You have to deal with it there. Well, they can't take it back to my court because they've already had a chance. In fact, they've had 3 chances and they ignored it. So what does the magistrate do? He goes, well, I don't recognise this court. Puts the paper aside. I said, thank you very much. Under the laws of equity, you don't recognise my court. I don't have to recognise your court. Over. They don't like it. If they do anything then, now they are willfully committing fraud. I'm not interested in trying to get these things won or dismissed. I'm not interested in that. I go in there because I'm thinking the long game. The more I stay in your courts, the more you're going to issue paperwork that incriminates you deeper and deeper into the fraud. Because I'm after gathering all of this evidence so I can turn around and go, counterclaim for fraud, not only the police included, the police prosecutors included, the magistrates included, and the judge. And that must be heard in the Supreme Court before a jury of the people. And let the people decide whether there's a fraud or not. Why would I put my power in front of some guy who's totally crooked? I play the long game all the way through. See how much fun it is?
How the hell would you get a jury of your peers or people to understand the things that you're talking about here today?
I do exactly what I've just done to you now.
Educate them in court.
You educate them in court because I'm going to show the jury the very same procedures that I've gone through. I'm going to explain to them when I sent the first letter, and here's what the maximum law says, and this is why I said this, because I'm a witness. I can give evidence of whatever I like that is relevant to the case. And the jury are all going to sit there, they've all had a speeding fine, or they've all paid a bank mortgage, or they've all got, and when they find out that their whole court system is fraudulent, that the whole taxation system is fraudulent, they're going to turn to my side like this And they're going to make a decision. They're literally going to say, well, let's take a first vote on who thinks that they're guilty. Bang, 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 bang.
Have you actually done this yourself?
Not to this extent yet, but I have taken matters as far as the county court, and I've got judges to make all sorts of mistakes. I got a judge to admit that if there was a dispute between which had authority, the law of God or the law of the court, he said, the law of the court. And I went, and why is that? He said, because the court pays me. Now you think about that. He's just said that the law of God has no standing in their court.
Yeah, they swear in the Bible.
This is the trick. When you swear, you blaspheme. So when you swear on a Bible, you negate God, leaving only their law. And most of these Bibles, I haven't checked this yet because I haven't been in there for a while, most of the Bibles have the last 10 pages torn out.
I don't swear on the Bible.
So they're not known.
You're told in the Bible not to swear, you know.
Exactly. That's why they ask you to swear on the Bible. They ask you, do you want to swear on the Bible? And stupid people will do that, not knowing that what they're doing is blaspheming on the Bible, therefore taking God out of the courtroom.
And you've given a choice.
Allowing their system to be the only system that remains.
You're saying that the other meaning of the word swear is in you swear an oath. That doesn't mean you're negating the oath?
Yes.
It does.
Whenever you swear, you negate. So that
So
means
swearing an oath
that's
is the opposite of what it says.
absolutely. So when a police officer swears an oath to do such and such and such and such, he's not going to do it. Why? Because he takes an oath as an officer. See the subtlety in language? To swear an oath negates it. To take an oath adopts it.
So is that why they can lie in court?
Why they can? It's why they do lie. They tell their version of the story. It's the magistrate who is interpreting it. But you've got to call them on it. So if I go into a court and I've got a copper there and I'm going to cross-examine him, this is the first question I ask him. Did you take an oath as a constable? And he says yes. Please recite that oath to me, to the court. Magistrate jumps in and says, oh, we're not going with this doctor. I said, well, wait a minute. If he doesn't know his oath, how can he be enacting it? If he doesn't know his oath right now, then this whole matter has to be thrown out because he's not acting under his oath. He has to have total knowledge of it. He now has to get it word perfect. Let's say he gets it word perfect. He remembers his oath and he says it. So, did you also take an oath as an officer of the private capital lettered organisation, i.e. New South Wales Police Force, which is a foreign entity? He'll say, yes. Can you recite that oath? Let's say he can. And here's my next question to him. In which capacity did you arrest the accused? Did he arrest as a constable or did he arrest as an officer? Because an officer has no authority to arrest anyone.
Do you know what officer means anymore?
In military, because we're under military.
Auditor.
And it's someone who follows orders. An officer in a military organisation does what they're told, does what they're ordered, even if it's illegal. Okay? And the great thing that Drew's bringing up here is when we think about military, we've got to think about the whole thing as a trade and commerce. The military protect the trade and commerce. And who are they protecting? The bankers. They're protecting the money field. These things are so interlaced all the way through, and no one tells us this. We think we're the fiction. So he has to say, oh, I took the oath, I arrested him in both capacities. Well, you can't. Now he's confused. If he's arresting in both capacities, he's not a reliable witness. everything he says needs to go out the window. He has to say one or the other. And if he says, well, as a constable, you then say to him, you realise as a constable, you can only arrest someone who has committed a crime.
An injured party.
Okay? There has to be an injured party. Where is going 10 kilometres over the speed limit listed in the Crimes Act? It's not. Well, if it's not listed, then you've unlawfully arrested someone because you don't have the authority to arrest someone for a statutory offence. Now, you'll go into court and you'll be in the criminal court for speeding. And you have to straight away say, this is in the wrong jurisdiction, there's no crime being committed. Where is it in the Crimes Act? If it's not in the Crimes Act, and they'll say something like this, it's quasi-criminal. Oh, thank you. Or if they don't say that, you can put it to them. You can say, is Your Honour saying that this is quasi-criminal? And they'll agree, quasi-criminal. That's like saying this. Well, that's like saying that an elephant is like a mouse because they're both grey, they've both got ears and they've both got 4 legs. That's what quasi means. It means it's not, but it's like. So what you're saying, Your Honour, is this is not a crime at all, but it's sort of like a crime. And the reason you call it that is because it's heard through a Criminal Procedure Act. The Criminal Procedure Act is the process by which they hear a matter. And they use the Criminal Procedure Act to hear this because they're trying to bluff you. And they can use a Criminal Procedure Act as much as they like, but it's not a crime. So the matter has been filed under the wrong jurisdiction. And you force it to be dismissed. And then you can say to the cop, but they're welcome to file it as a civil matter, because that's what it is. If it's not a crime, it's a civil matter. They're welcome to make a claim in a civil matter, but they better have a contract. Expose the fraud. Expose the fraud. The further you go through the system, the more they're going to expose their own actions. All right, let's talk about cops.